Hi everybody, welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. I just felt like stepping away from the computer. I've been working, I'm tired. I want to come outside and just get some fresh air. Yeah, we had some major wind yesterday and these branches fell down from this tree, which is actually normal because I guess this type of tree continually sheds its branches. Like it's weird, but especially when there's high wind. But oh yeah, I've been working really hard. I do graphic design, and it's not as fun as it sounds. It's actually kind of monotonous. Usually what I'll do is I'll come up with a template. Like right now I'm doing all these like surfing locations, and I'm using the same template for all these different locations, just kind of changing the name of the city or the beach or whatever. And after a while, my brain starts to kind of start buzzing, and I just need to get away. But I wanted to share a thought. So I'm not going anywhere in particular. I'm just walking around the property. Oh, let's check on the electric fence, make sure it's still on. As long as the lights. Yep. See that green blinking light right there? That means that it's on. Not that I would think that it would be off, but you know, whatever. But yeah, I just wanted to share this one experience that came to mind about has to do with just pushing your limits. And it's another Army story. So basically, the reason why I joined the Army is because I had previously, I was going to school for accounting. I got 2 years into that, and then we were prompted and inspired to start our family, even though the plan was to wait till I was done with college. But we did it, and I'm glad that we did. And then I basically had to change to another program because there was no way that I was going to do 2 or 4 more years of college working full time, because we wanted my wife to be able to stay home, and she's been able to ever since we had our first child. We prayed and it happened. But anyway, I went into aircraft dispatch. We moved down to Arizona. I wasn't able to find a job, or at least one that I wanted to take. I could have moved to Massachusetts because I had an offer from Nantucket Airlines. It's like just like a little regional carrier, but I didn't take that. There was another one in Wyoming. Interestingly, they're called Great Lakes Airlines, and they're all another just like little regional airline, and I didn't take that. So I decided to join the military, and to make a long story short, I ended up going into the Army. And the Army, I'm sure the whole military, but probably especially the Army and the Marines, they push you to the limit. And that happened to me several times while I was there. The first time was in basic training, when on Saturdays we had what was called combatives training, where they teach you like hand-to-hand combat. It's more just kind of like wrestling, really. But every Saturday, and there'd be these specific warm-up exercises and drills that you're supposed to do, and one of them, like, you're on your back, and you kind of like, imagine yourself on your back in the fetal position, so your like legs and arms are up in the air, just above you. And in that position, you're supposed to kind of like wiggle your way sideways from one side of this large room to the other. And it was probably about 20, maybe like 20 yards, 20 to 25 yards or something like that. I'm gonna go sit down. It feels nice tonight. It's just nice and cool. It's like 48 degrees right now. Feels good to me. Gosh, these girls, they keep taking the lights off the, you see here, this light? My girls take these lights off and then use them for like their own personal little flashlights or whatever the heck they do. Anyway, for some reason, I guess my abs were just weak. It was really, really hard for me to do that. And, but the thing is, you're in a situation where you can't not do it. So, it was horrible. You know, later on, once I was actually in the Army, with my unit, there were times when, like, for example, I worked in the supply room, and when you're in supply, when you're in unit supply, you're essentially in charge of all the unit's equipment. Well, in theory, the commander is in charge of all of it, but you're the one that does the legwork, and you help keep accountability of everything. And so what that comes down to is there's times throughout the year where you have to do these inventories, and in fact, all the unit's equipment is supposed to be inventoried at least once a year. It can be broken up over several months, or you can do it all at once or whatever. And then if there's ever a change of command from one commander to another, then you do a full inventory. And it sucks. And you know, I remember one time I was just so exhausted because we were doing this change of command inventory, and it's just like it takes like a couple weeks to get through it, and it's just grueling and it's exhausting. And there was one day that it was time to do the tents, and so when you do an inventory, you take whatever the equipment is, and then all the little sub items along with it, and you have to lay all those out. So like if it's a toolbox, for example, it's all the tools that go along with the toolbox. If it's a Humvee, it's not just the truck, it's like the warning triangles and the fire extinguisher, and there's like a bunch of things that are supposed to go along with the Humvee. But we were doing tents, and tents really, really suck because they're really big, and it takes a lot of people to unfold them, and you have to find the little tag so that you can make sure that you have the right piece. And then there's all the stakes, and there's the poles and all that stuff. And one day I was just like at my limit. We were out in the motor pool, which is where all the shipping containers are and all the vehicles and stuff like that. And we were laying out the tents, and it was hot. I was just physically exhausted, and there were only a handful of us for some reason. I can't remember the exact circumstances, but as I was looking at it and I was looking at what time it was, I was like, we're going to be here forever. We're not going home tonight. Because you can't just like leave equipment out. It has to be locked up. All that stuff had to be folded back up and put away in the little bags and stuff like that. All the stakes and poles, and put back in the shipping containers, which is where they're stored. And I just remember just how overwhelmed I was at that moment. And I was like, we are not going home at all until late tonight. And then after that, there's no like, you know, coming in late the next day or calling in sick, really. It's like, and then it's all going to start over again within, you know, however many hours. But the reality of it was like, I don't know, it was like at that moment, something just clicked, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do it. I don't care. Like somehow I shifted gears, and I was like, I just stopped my complaining and stopped worrying about it, and I just did it. I was just like in the moment, not thinking about the future. And lo and behold, somehow or another, we actually got it done. It was after the time that we were supposed to go home, but it wasn't too long after. It was only like maybe an hour or something like that. You know, and then I had other experiences like that as well, because my unit, we weren't like a typical line unit, or in other words, we were kind of like it was like a headquarters and headquarters company, which basically all you need to know is it's like a larger the normal company, and therefore a lot more equipment and a lot more responsibility if you're in supply. And because I never became a sergeant because I didn't re-enlist. I just did the one enlistment and then I moved on with my life. There's no way I could have stayed in, by the way, because I got a herniated disc and other things that happened, and I would have died if I would have stayed in, if I would have tried. I mean, I'm sure I could have made it work out, but my body would be in much worse shape than it is right now had I stayed. But so anyway, what happened though was I became like the head supply clerk essentially, and whenever you do good in the military, and this is kind of true in just like it's not just like unique to the military. When you're a good worker, people use you. Your higher ups use you, and in my case, that meant getting additional duties. Like instead of just doing my job as a supply clerk, they're like, "Oh, you know what? Gutierrez is gone, and so let's have Davies be the MBC guy." Which is nuclear, biological, chemical, which all that means is that you're in charge of the unit's gas masks and the other equipment and stuff like that. So they put you through this little, like, I think it was like 2 week long class, and then you're expected to like know what to do. And I did it, and I found myself overwhelmed because on top of my duties as the head supply clerk, now I was taking on this additional responsibility, on my own. And it was at a time when we were transitioning gas masks, nonetheless. No less. We were going from the old M40 masks, if you're in the military, to the new M50, which is supposed to be like a joint service mask where all the branches are using this now. And then I had to issue them out, and this was at the same time that we were moving buildings from this one building to another, so that was really hectic, and I was overwhelmed doing all this stuff. But once again, it's almost like I had to become dead inside. I had to just like numb myself, and I got through it. So I guess the point of what I'm trying to say is that we are so much more capable than we think we are of getting things done and doing things. We tend to want to stay in the comfort zone and, just be comfortable and not exert ourselves too hard. But the reality is, we have so much more potential within us than usually we allow ourselves to explore. And it sucks going beyond your comfort zone, but it yields great reward. And in this case with the Army, I feel like what happened was I became a stronger person because then I had passed what I thought were my limits, and ever since that time, I feel like I've been able to do a lot of difficult things that before I probably wouldn't have done. For example, just like the work that I do, I don't have a boss. There's no one here to tell me what to do, or it's all I'm directing myself, and I'm the one that calls the shots. And if I fail, it's because of me. I can't blame it on anybody. So basically, there's like a discipline there, and as I'm doing, for example, like what I was talking about before, I'm doing all these surf designs. I know for a fact that there would be many other people that would not be able to sit down on their own and go through this long list of locations and just keep doing the same thing. Some people could, obviously, but I feel like that's something that the Army helped me with. I don't even know how many I'm going to do. I don't have a complete list. I'm just kind of like doing it as I go. But I know that I can hit up as many as I find. I'm not going to break, and I'm not going to get discouraged or anything like that. And it's the same thing with, just family life, or even with church or whatever. And especially now, okay, let's talk about the second coming. We're in the last days, and a lot's being asked of us, I think. We're being asked to do Come Follow Me. We're being asked to gather scattered Israel, do family history and temple work. And we don't know what things are going to be like going forward. But, we're probably going to be asked to do more. So, just... I guess what I just want to share is that, like I said before, there's a lot more in you than maybe you think. And whatever you may think that your limits are, they aren't really limits. They really aren't. So whatever it is that you're doing in life, just do what you need to do. Push past those limits. When you do, like I said, you get great value out of it. The thing about it is, like, what makes things valuable in life is, well, at least part of it anyway. Not all of it, but part of it is how hard it is to produce whatever it is that the value is attached to. So usually things that are easy, they don't have value because just anybody can do it. But when it's something that's hard, that's what gives it value, because then people don't want to do it. Right? That's why books have value. It's because, it's hard to write a book. I don't plan on ever writing a book, but it's not like the easiest thing to do. You have to, first of all, you have to write it, then you got to get it published. And so it gives it value. And, and it's not just books, it's art, it's work, it's services, it's products, it's whatever. The more work usually that is required to be put into something, the more value that thing has. And so you can use this to your advantage. Like, if you have a talent, if you have a skill, push yourself past that limit of whatever that thing is, and it's going to give it value, and you're going to get something in return. Those countless hours that you put in, it will yield something for you. So anyway, I guess I should probably go back inside and get to it. I still have a few more hours of work to do before it's bedtime. If you guys haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it, hit the notification bell, leave your comments, and I'll talk to you later.